Hello, Old Sport. You're listening to Free Zone Radio.
From Free Zone Radio, I'm Jason Crockett, and this is Second Stage. This show typically explores a play that was once widely popular in the cultural eye, but nowadays may have faded quietly from its view. But I don't think that's entirely true with Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest. Every year I see this title on recommended reading shelves, and as an option for AP classroom writing. But the thing for me is that while I know of Ernest, I never yet have read or watched Ernest. Plenty of high school classrooms do, and the stage may still love him, but I myself have never seen this Ernest y'all speak of. Each year I begin my AP class with a comedy, but the problem is that they're never really that funny. And part of this problem is the venue. High school is often where joy comes to die. And part of it is a shift in cultural attitudes. I mean, think, are the memes we laugh at today the same kind of comedy as the movies we watched in the 90s or in the 70s or the 50s? People are people, no matter the era, though. So there has to be something we can do to better teach comedy. Something new. So this year, I assigned Ernest as part of our summer reading. Our summer reading. I never have the kids do something I myself wouldn't do. And for me, this is a bit of an experiment. I'm approaching the play as most of our students will, knowing little to nothing about the play, the writer, or what significance we're expected to get out of it. On the one hand, I know it's a comedy, and I know that just because I exist in the universe of English teachers and I've picked that up somewhere along the way. And on the other hand, I know it's a long celebrated work of literature, so it has to mean something, right? But what am I supposed to get from these characters and these witty lines and the structure of this 3-act play? And what are other people going to think if I get my answers wrong? What will other teachers judge me if I don't know? If I don't know all the right answers? Because that's a thought kids will always be thinking too. So here's my process. To read it, watch it, annotate it, and then, and only then, do I get to look up some stuff about it. And meet up with a friend who also read the play, so we can discuss our findings. I will say that I think something that we've been missing the boat on is that we need to start doing more like eating, drinking, paired events with this. Mm-hmm. So like if we're going to record about, I don't know, fried green tomatoes, we need to have a plate of barbecue and fried green tomatoes in front of us, some sweet tea.
Yeah.
So today we're recording
we need
about
cakes for this one, muffins.
But I would have eaten them all. I wouldn't have shared. Today we're recording about the importance of being earnest, and we're meeting once again at Westside Grocery and having coffee and Danishes. And so it is kind of like we met up for a Victorian tea of sorts.
We just prefer coffee over tea.
Because of America. I wanted to approach this from a different angle this time. So often we talk about plays that maybe people used to know but have fallen out of favor, and yet the importance of being earnest shows up over and over and over on recommended reading lists and in classrooms. I know a lot of teachers use it. I just know that I have never used it. And in my time at the high school, I don't know any teacher at our school who has used it in a while. So it is a well-known play, just not to us. I also wanted to approach it from a different angle because this year it's AP's summer reading, and I don't want to be a fraud. I want to be the guy who comes at it from a legit angle and understands what my students struggle with. So here's a play that I picked that I myself have never read before. And I denied myself the chance to do any Googling or anything. I wanted to come at it fresh. So I read the play, not knowing anything beyond the basic plot line. and then read the play, and then I allowed myself to go to YouTube to look up clips or look up a version of it to watch. And now that I know that, I'm allowed to Google or whatever else. Like, that's what I wanted to approach it from, because I know that's how I'm throwing it to my students. They're being thrown a summer reading text, not knowing anything. I don't want them to immediately cheat and go to SparkNotes. I don't want them to immediately cheat and go to the Google and say, well, tell me everything about it. I wanted to approach it from a know-nothing angle like that. And you did the same, right?
I did, yeah.
So what was your experience with reading it?
So I went into it blind as well. I read the back cover of it just to which reading the back cover does not help you very much because it's like bun burying. What is that? I was like, is this a word that I don't know? What?
Right.
Well, it's a made-up word. Spoiler alert. So I went in blind, I read it, and I was like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous, but kind of fun. And then I did the same thing after I read it. I looked up online if there were any, movie versions of it, and I watched the 2002 movie version of it, and now I'm here.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you watched the O2 version of it, because I did not watch that one on purpose. I picked a different one. Last night was also my first viewing of The Importance of Being Earnest. And when I went through YouTube, I saw there was the 2002 version of the movie. I watched the trailer of it, and I was kind of put off by it. It reminded me a lot of A Midsummer Night's Dream, the movie from the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, me
and that's one that I've used in class because during the summer, my AP kids read a novel and a play. And for a while now, I've tried pairing that novel with a comedy because A, it's summertime. We don't need a whole lot of in-depth hard labor right now. But also B, we never really get a window in the school year to teach comedy. And I want to make sure we fit it in. And so isn't comedy something that's way more digestible just to read it on your own, come to class, we can talk about it, move on. I've always, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've used A Midsummer Night's Dream, and that movie version of it, I think, is probably one of the better movie versions of it. But anytime we watch it and talk about it, it's just not as funny. It's just not as funny. Like, we struggle to laugh about it. And so when I saw the 2002 version of this movie, I was reminded of that, and I thought, no thanks.
There were aspects of it that also, I was watching it and I was like, okay, this is giving me very much Midsummer vibes here. And like, it's stuff that they've added in, like with Cecily thinking about Ernest that she's supposedly been engaged to in her mind. It would, in these dreamy moments, she all of a sudden would turn into this like princess maiden, and Ernest would come in riding on a horse in armor, and then there would be people behind her playing instruments in the trees. Like, it was very much like, what is this? But it did also kind of fit the ridiculousness of the play and this dreamy version of Ernest that she thought of.
That's something that I had written down on here too. Yeah, I was reminded of Midsummer Night's Dream, I think by Act 2 of the play, because now you've gotten out of Algernon's house, and now you're getting to see the country, and you get the two guys, the two girls, and somewhere in there, I finally, stupid me, clicked, and I was like, oh wait, this is like A Midsummer Night's Dream, where you get the two guys and the two girls, and he's in love with her, but she's actually in love with him, and kind of thing. And you've got all these little mini relationships kind of in the background, like with Miss Prism. You've got all these little mini things happening, and it's like, wait, is this like a massive love story going on here? I wonder how much of that Oscar Wilde knowingly or unknowingly adapted from Shakespeare, or if that's just a structure for comedy, and the guy knows how to write comedy, and so he was bringing that in. I don't know. But Act 2 definitely reminded me of that. Also because in A Midsummer Night's Dream, where does all of the chaos start to happen? It's when they go into the forest. And that's where the rule of law is suspended. Nothing's safe. Nothing's guaranteed. Everything's chaos. You're in love with you. You look like a mule. All of this. But by Act 2 of this play, they're not in the forest, they're in the country. And I wrote down, I was like, oh yeah, same thing. Same thing here. I wanted to feel the way that I make students feel when they're given a new text, they don't know what to think about it. Did you have any preconceptions about this play before I asked you to read it?
No. I mean, I was familiar with it, just like having heard of it. I did remember that when I did my practicum at Cookeville High School, right before I was getting ready to leave, they were getting ready to begin this. So I just barely missed out on it. So they did at that time teach it at Cookeville High School. And I can remember seeing like the classroom sets of it. But no, I did not know what I was getting into.
I didn't either. Again, I wanted a new comedy and not just the same thing that I've been using. And I wanted something that was going to be funny. And so when I did, a little bit of research this past spring, all the recommendations kept coming back. Oscar Wilde, Importance of Being Earnest, just over and over and over. So I thought, we've got some copies of it. Why not? Just spin it. Also, it's a new opportunity for me to do something too, so I get to kick off the tired, same old, right? I did have some preconceptions about it at first because it's a Victorian piece, and I was instantly reminded of Jane Austen. I'm reminded of Pride and Prejudice, things like that. And so I thought, oh no. Oh no. I typically don't like those. I have a couple of students, Summer and Ansley, who love Pride and Prejudice, and they were begging me to read it so I could talk about it. And it's like I've been still struggling just to get through that book. It's so. But on the other hand, I love comedy of manners. I love society stories. I'm a little bit partial to Downton Abbey. So it's like I like the upstairs, downstairs. I like the society angle of it, and I like comedy. So I didn't know what I was getting into with this one as far as that goes.
Well, I didn't even know that it was a Victorian piece going into it. Like, I didn't even get that we were in that era until I got started. And then I thought, okay, this is kind of giving me like Bridgerton vibes a little bit, which I did. I made a note. I was like, I can see why this play could still be popular today. It's basically a period piece soap opera.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
It is, because
it is.
You think about with a soap opera or a show like Bridgerton, you're in a period piece, but all these overly dramatic, ridiculous things are happening. You have a soap opera right here. You have, I said, fake identities, secret engagements, characters caring about the wrong things, and overly dramatic social expectations.
Also, the mistaken identity, the who are you really? So many of these are just comedy tropes that get used over and over and over, but they're used extremely well, I think. Another preconception I had was how skinny it is.
Yeah.
My copy is like super skinny. And so I thought, oh, that can be a selling point when I tell the kids you got to read two things during the summer. You get an actual novel. But there's also this skinny play. That seems really like undaunting. I think a lot of kids would look at it and be like, oh, that's it? I can do that.
And it's a play too. I mean, that goes by quicker, I feel like, because a lot of, the chunk of reading is taken away because you've got spacing and the names. And so you're looking at a skinny book. That's a play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not overly daunting.
And so correct me, you read this and then you watched it.
Yeah. And I started reading it yesterday. I read off and on throughout the day. I finished around 3 o'clock.
Right.
And then I watched it that night. Yeah.
I was reminded of the semester I took Shakespeare at Tennessee Tech. and it was a summer Shakespeare
Me
class.
too. I did that.
So it's basically 30 Shakespeare plays in a month.
Yeah, you do a play a day.
A play a day. And that can be really daunting for people.
I can remember King Lear. I was like, King Lear is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays, but I can also remember being like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to read this in a day. What in the world?
So how did you get through summer Shakespeare if there's a play a day?
So I watched it as I read.
Exactly right. And I feel like that's the super secret tech that everybody tells you about once you're actually in the class. But why are you not just following along while watching it?
Yep, that's what I did.
It's a play, right?
Yep, I would lock myself in the bedroom. I would pop open. I can't remember where I watched them all at. Shirley Laird gave us a website, and I watched them from that website. It was a stage production, and I just followed along word by word. And I mean, it was very, very manageable.
Yeah.
Once I got into it, I did not feel overly stressed.
Something, I would advise my students to do the same kind of thing. If you're assigned a play, why are you not watching it?
Their plays are meant to be watched.
And so often we'll assign them a novel, and the kids are going to try to cheat their way around it by going to watch the movie version of it. It may not be the same to digest a movie and a novel, right? But plays are pretty faithful to it, so why are you not just watching how it's enacted?
For sure.
Like, you're supposed to see the choices that are made.
For sure.
And every version of the play is going to be a new, I don't want to say translation, but it's going to be a new rendition of it. So this is how that director saw it. This is how these actors voiced those characters. So there's always new choices. Every different production, we get new things. And you and I are going to talk about that because you saw the 2002 version of the movie, and I watched the 2011 version of the play. I would definitely encourage my students, if you've not watched Importance of Being Earnest, go to YouTube, find copies of it, and watch it. Watch it before you come to class. At least have that in your pocket. It's so much more digestible. Do you care to do a short summary of the play?
Sure.
Pretend the kids haven't read it yet. What would you tell them is the plot of this play?
So you have two men. You have Jack, who in the country, he's Jack. In the city, he's Ernest.
Right.
He pretends to be his fake brother in the city. And you have his friend in the city, Algernon. And Algernon pretends to be Bunbury in the country so that he can get out of his social duties in the city. So the two men, there's a little bit of mistaken identity because they both end up back in the country. There's two women. Jack / Ernest is in love with Gwendolyn. He proposes to Gwendolyn. And then Algernon / Ernest in the country falls for Cecily. And there's that mistaken identity of who is Ernest, who is Jack, who is Algernon, who is who at this version. And it, like you said, kind of becomes chaos in the country. And the ending, you get a huge surprise shock.
Yeah. But like in all good comedies, everything works out in the end.
Everything works out. With some marriages.
Right.
Well, implied marriages.
Again, tragedy and comedy are two different sides of the same coin. And Greek theater, in theaters, because of Greek theater, you always see the two masks that are hanging above the stage, right? The comic mask and the tragic mask. So comedy and tragedy, two different sides of the same coin. They have opposite geometries to them. That a tragedy, we start out with something that's really bad. And then your character rises to such heights and ambitions. And then by the end of the play, they suffer a complete downfall. So tragedy winds up making the frowny face. But comedy, everything starts off great. We're all fine. And by halfway through the play, we're in the worst pit. How do we possibly get ourselves out of this? And by the end, we are on to success. Everything works out in the end. So it makes the smiley face trajectory. We always tell students that tragedies always end with
Death.
A funeral. So comedies, on the opposite, have to always end with
Marriage. A union.
But marriages aren't always happy endings.
Right.
Marriages are not always happy endings. And yet in the plays, it's assumed that, oh no, they're going to get married and be happy ever after. The irony of comedy, it's not that it's always going to be happy ever after. But comedy doesn't need to go past that. we saw the kids get married. We're done. We're done. What do you want to talk about first?
Oh, gosh.
Part of me wants to talk about this like from the English teacher aspect where we talk about characters, symbols, or whatever. But I also just want to talk about like any reactions you have to it.
Okay. So, reactions. Do you think that Oscar Wilde is a romantic and he's portraying like actual romantic love in this play? Or is it definitely a romantic comedy where he's kind of making fun of it a little bit?
Oh, I think he's definitely making fun.
Oh, I agree. Like, I agree 100%. And it gave me that same feeling as when I teach Romeo and Juliet. I tell the kids, like, this is not a love story, which we know that Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy, but these kids still want to try to make it out to be this love at first sight, true love story. And I truly think that William Shakespeare is giving people a warning about love and about impulse and like, slow down, think it through. And I think Oscar Wilde is in a similar way making fun of love with this and how ridiculous people can be with love and how it's not always what's on the inside, that it's more so about this idea.
100% it is. Man, I love this play. I love getting to do this. Something that I love is British humor. Like British comedy is often so dry and sarcastic, and I love it.
I wrote down a line that's my favorite, and it's Lady Bracknell, which I think she's hilarious.
She gets the best lines,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, which I was watching the movie last night. My husband was laying on the couch, not paying attention, playing a game on his phone, and when this line was said, I heard him go, like, he chuckled at this line, and I thought, okay, even he gets it. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
To lose one parent may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness.
Yes. I mean, at that point, the character is talking from an angle of, I've lost my parents. Like, we assume that you're talking about they've passed away. But lose has a double meaning.
You get this pun
right?
in it. At first, she's talking about
somewhere?
To lose one parent, as in, okay, you've had one parent die. But to lose both, okay, you're just careless.
You've
like, just left your parents somewhere. Yeah.
That's this dry humor right there. I love it. I love sarcasm. I love the dry humor that it doesn't have to be this, oh God, American comedies sometimes get on my nerves. I know there's plenty of them that we all laugh at and whatever, but so often they're just, I don't know.
Like stupid comedy.
They're aiming for stupid comedy, vulgarity, whatever, because that's going to be a cheap, easy laugh. And I'm not denying that that's comedy, but it's not like a witty, intellectual
right now,
comedy.
Scary Movie 4.
Oh my gosh.
Are you into those scary movies?
You know, I've never seen one of them.
I haven't either.
I mean, I've seen clips online because I'm on the internet.
I have zero interest in it. And I mean, I love like Scream and classic scary movies.
Right.
And I get that this movie is like making fun of those scary movie tropes.
Right.
But it is literally so like senseless, vulgar comedy that I'm just not interested in. Like I have zero interest in it. So when you're talking about American comedy, like stuff like that comes to my mind. Like White Chicks.
Oh, right. So they used to refer to like lowbrow, vulgar comedy plays as country plays. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Because it usually happened in the countryside at a farmer's house, and it usually involved so-and-so with a mistaken identity cheating on the farmer with his wife or something like that. There was a lot of sexuality. There was a lot of whatever. And it appeals to the lowest common denominator kind of laughter. And it's such an easy, low pitch to hit.
Yeah.
But when you look at society comedy, you have to aim for witty wordplay and double meanings. And just like Lady Bracknell's line, right? To lose both. it requires a little bit more of the mind. An interesting take on that is that I had read somewhere in Oscar Wilde's time, as far as an upper class person, education, as far as like a formal education of being like having a master's degree or something like that, was not what was valued.
Oh.
In his time, as a socialite, it is much more important for you to have a natural, witty sort of skill. If you have witty wordplay, if you can have these insightful, incisive comments about people, you're much more likely to get invited to the next ball or the next party or the next afternoon tea. So that's your path upward, is having his insightful wit. No, I read this, and Oscar Wilde is very jaded about people. I think he's very jaded about people. I don't think there's the expectation that true young love is everything that it's cracked up to be. He's mocking everybody. And I'm there for it, man. I think he does a great job. Here's another thing. The young people are young people. Jack Worthing, Algernon Moncrief, they're young guys. And they're somewhat society, but they're young guys. Cecily, young, naive girl in the country. Gwendolyn, young, naive girl of the city. But again, they're just young people. Young people, young people. We got it. The adults in the play, I think, represent different pillars of society. Lady Bracknell is society. So then you also have Reverend Dr. Chasuble, who's church. You have society, you have church. What about Miss Prism?
She is like your lower tier. She's like your nurse character in Romeo and Juliet.
No. But what's her job with Cecily?
To teach her German. Yeah.
She's education. So here she is. And you and I have had numerous comments about this before, where it's like, man, we produce great content in the classroom. We come up with these great lessons and everything. But are there like always teachers out there that are doing this? Or are there plenty of teachers that are just like, you got that worksheet I can have off of you? That's a Miss Prism right there, who doesn't quite, she's not as intellectual as she thinks she is.
No, and she can't even, Cecily is constantly being like, why am I having to do this? I don't want to do this. And she can't even give her the value in it. You know,
Yes.
She is just like, well, your Uncle Jack wants you to do this. Jack said so. That's like those teachers, well, the state said so. The state says you have to do this. So.
Imagine a kid asking you, when am I ever going to need to know how to write like this?
Yeah.
And you're that teacher who's just like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then what are you doing, man? But
Yeah.
that's a Miss Prism right
Yeah.
there. So we've got education, we've got the church, we've got society. Is there another adult that I'm forgetting?
Yes.
There's the butler.
Yeah.
There's the butler.
Who comes
There's the
in
butler and the manservant, Merriman and Lane.
Exasperated by Algernon.
Right. So you just get these great pillars of society. So he's mocking the young and the young love and the whole ideal of young love, but he's also mocking the society, the church, and the education that perpetuates it at that time period too. Yeah, I don't think Oscar Wilde is out to like idolize anyone or anything.
No.
I think he's out to mock, to tweak people's noses, and I'm there for it.
Yeah, I made that note too, that he's making fun of people who take this social status too seriously, which to me, I'm like, this play could so easily be adapted to 2026 with social media and influencers.
Man, I had the same thought. Who in the play do you think would today, if this were in today's world, who in the play would be somebody that would probably be most likely to be fumbling, I want to be an influencer?
Ooh.
Because I know I have my answer. I want to know what your answer is.
Okay, so part of me wants to say OG Ernest. Because he just wants to go to the city and have fun. And he's, he's not really thinking through the actions of that.
Yes.
But I also see Cecily in that whole scene when Gwendolyn comes and she's like, "Can I give you tea? Do you want sugar?" And Gwendolyn's like, "No, sugar's out of fashion." And she gives her the sugar anyway. Like, she's trying so hard to put on this front.
Yes.
So those are my two.
Cecily also keeps a diary, like, in front of everybody. And then whenever they say, "Well, can I read it?" "Oh, no, a lady's thoughts must be kept in private until she publishes them. Will you buy my book?" What an influencer. My answer was Miss Prism, who is also, like, dying to be seen as valuable and so intellectual and influential. And she also wrote a 3-volume trilogy, too, that somewhere happened. I don't know whatever happened to it. It's out there somewhere. But she wrote a 3-parter out there, too. Like, Miss Prism.
More important than a baby.
More important than
She definitely wanted to keep up with that book instead of the baby.
What a woman. Miss
What
Prism.
a woman. And I mean, could you not picture Algernon in today's society with his debts and just this, like, I mean, he is like...
I'm pretty sure that Algernon would fit in great with modern day society. Yeah, he is, but he's also so good at leeching off the upper class too.
And he can put on this front. And I feel like I know people that you would look at him and not really think they're like a loser. They look good. They're putting on this front. You think, oh, they're a good guy. They're a nice guy. They're from an upper class family. But then you get to know him and he's deceiving people left and right. He owes a ton of money to a ton of different people.
I don't know. I of course, have never looked up anything about this play, but my gut tells me that Algernon is based on Oscar Wilde himself.
Oh, wow.
I kind of feel like, whether he meant to or not, that Wilde was like, "That's me." I just feel like... because Algernon also has zero qualms with going to other rich people's houses and, like, eating up their muffins at tea, right? Or, I'll stay a whole 7 days. I'll be here this whole time. And you're right, with the debts and everything.
He's a glutton.
But he's also got great, witty, insightful lines. And, like, how does this guy still keep getting invited to parties or whatever?
Well, it's like you can tell he's been raised correctly.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the lines got a little blurred with him.
But I still want to invite him to my party.
Yeah.
I like Algernon.
Yeah.
I like it. So again, I've never looked up anything about this play. I've read it. I've watched it. That's all I know about it. Oscar Wilde. He's gay, right?
Gay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I am right about that.
Yes.
Algernon.
I got, like, early on in the play, was there not, like, a moment where it was like he was a little...
Every time I've seen...
Could kind of go both ways?
Yeah. Again, I only watched these clips and movies last night. Every time I've seen Algernon, he definitely gives off that vibe that he could be. But he insists he's in love with Cecily. And I never once in the reading of the play catch anything that's really amorous about them, other than she's fun to be around. And she kind of, like, idolizes him. So, I mean, he likes being liked. He likes being at the center of attention. He likes being at the center of the parties.
But also, like, do you think maybe he's looking for someone to pay his debts off? Like, he's also wants to continue this status. If you have Lady Bracknell as an aunt, like, do you not think you're trying to live up to your status? And he knows, well, I mean, Ernest is proposing to somebody. I better propose to somebody too. And it's like this. So,
again, as somebody who's never studied the play before, I'm a newcomer to this. Oscar Wilde, gay. Algernon, potentially gay. I'm wondering if this whole play also doesn't operate on a different layer of metaphor too. Because the entire play is about mistaken identity and who are you really, and who are you when you're in this social expectation, who are you when you're in front of your friends. Can you ever comfortably be the real you in front of other people?
Well, okay, there's another quote that I put down. It's early on in the play, and Gwendolyn says it, and there's extra words added in the book, but it's basically, we live in an age of ideals. And man, isn't that not the truth?
Yeah.
Like, we still today live in an age of ideals, but then back then, when something like that wasn't acceptable, like, there's an ideal of what a society man is supposed to be and what a society woman is supposed to be. So, was he not living in that idea?
You're talking about Victorian expectations.
Yes.
And today, even in 2026, I think as socially liberal as Americans have progressively become, we are still very much bound by conservative traditional attitudes too, that even in 2026, it's not so easy for somebody to come out and be themselves in front of others. It's just not. And we've talked about this before too, where I know I have family, and I'm sure we all have family, feel closeted or feel like they have to keep themselves, even though they have come out to other people. They still feel like, oh no, I have to be somebody different here because I'm in front of the aunts, or I'm in front of the grandparents, or I'm not allowed to come out and so and so. And yet Oscar Wilde gives us a really funny play that you're looking at these characters and you're kind of like, I think we all kind of know he is, but we're just not going to say it.
Which, I mean, also, okay, Ernest Jack admits to Algernon that his real name is Jack, and he has made up this fake brother so that he can come to the city and be Ernest. I mean, if you, Jason Crockett, said that to me, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, I would almost be a little, like, icked out by that you were going and pretending to be someone else. Like, I would judge you a little bit. I'm not
Would you?
I would. I think I would. On the inside, I think I would judge you a little bit. But Algernon is like, oh, okay, yeah, that's Bunburying. I knew you were a Bunburyist. Like, he's the one that has put a term to this what Ernest is doing, which in my mind, when I was reading that, I'm like, is Bunburying like almost like a modern day catfishing?
Oh,
like, is that a way?
Right?
Which a lot of times, which I love the show Catfish. A lot of times those people are hiding a part of themselves. Like, women are catfishing as a man to a woman because they know.
Right.
And so it's almost like he was able to hide this part of himself a little bit through this Bunburying or this catfishing.
I love scary stories. I love monster stories. And years ago, I was watching, I don't remember what it was, something for Halloween, and they were talking about different archetypal monsters that are in movies. And whenever we teach Dracula, whenever we teach the vampire in my classroom, I know we come at it from an angle of, metaphorically, what is the vampire? Because it is very much a predatory kind of thing, and there's social yada, yada, yada. We won't get vulgar about it, but it's very, explicit. Then there's also the werewolf, which is so often attached to stories of
shape-shifting.
And who are you really? And that you feel like you have to conceal who you are in this scenario, but once you're out in your own...
In the moonlight, in the darkness, in this time of the month.
You can let the monster come out.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it made me think, that, of course, this is not a story about monsters, but it made me think that there's something tangential to that, that when he's in a certain scenario, he can kind of sort of be himself because it's just him and Jack right now. Again, I don't think that there's anything overt to that. I don't think Oscar Wilde is pushing any narrative.
English teachers sitting here speculating.
We're just deconstructing right now, because that's what we do.
Because we both went into it blind.
That's what we do. Funny thing, though, the very first thing I wrote down on here was a hypothetical question. Who out of people, my people, that you've never met, would you think was possibly somebody that I invented as a Bunbury?
Oh.
Because for listeners out there, Hannah was once upon a time a student in my sophomore class. She came back to me as a student teacher. She has come back now as my coworker. Like, I've known Hannah for years. And in the time of working with somebody, being their teacher, you talk about your family, you talk about your friends and stuff like that, these people in your world. Who in my circle of people would you possibly think, you know what? I don't know that that person's really real. Is there a possibility that I've invented somebody as a Bunbury?
I mean, sure, possibly. I mean, but couldn't we all?
Who in your universe of people would I have picked? I know your husband. I know.
That would be sad if it was my husband. Oh gosh, took a twist.
I know. I know. I've met your family before,
Yeah.
so it can't be them. Ooh, who's it gonna have to be?
You know my best friend.
I know. So who is it gonna? Maybe. Ooh, I think your Bunbury is your job teaching 6th grade.
Oh gosh.
I think you were doing something else, but you were just telling people that you were a 6th grade English teacher. I think it's really convenient that you happen to mention principles like Grant Swallows, because then it's like, well, I know him. That adds a layer of authenticity to your lie, but you've just been lying this whole time. And you know, I never thought to check with Dr. Swallows, so I don't know that he really does know you.
Yeah.
That could be your Bunbury.
You've heard me say that I was teacher of the year, but was there really any proof of that?
What I wonder how often people do this, though. I just wonder, who are the other Bunburys that are possibly in our universe at school
Drew's
or wherever?
Memphis friends.
Oh, yeah. Because, you know, he says that they all like him and they tell him that he's down and everything. But what if?
That is hilarious.
That could definitely be a Bunbury right there. I also had a question on here. What's the most out there thing you've ever done to get out of going somewhere?
Oh, I've got this. I think I've told you this story before.
Okay.
Have I?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I've not. I think I've told you this story before. So, I wanted to cancel my Planet Fitness membership.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm like such a pud, I guess. It's like I was scared to go cancel my membership because I didn't want them to look at me and be like, she needs to keep this membership. Oh, so when I went, and they were like, why are you canceling today? And I was like, I'm moving. And I thought, that's a safe answer. Like, I'm canceling because I'm moving. I'm not going to be here anymore. I don't need this membership. So then their next answer was, where are you moving to? And I thought, they're going to try to transfer my membership. And I thought, quick, Hannah, quick. Where's somewhere that you know there's not a Planet Fitness? Watertown. And they were like, Watertown? Why are you moving to Watertown?
What is it of their business?
And the guy was like, Watertown. You're moving to Watertown. What is in Watertown? And I was like, I got a job at the high school in Watertown. And this was like my second year of college. I wasn't even a teacher yet. So
I don't know that I have a story where I was trying to get out of something. I don't know that I have that. I'm racking my mind now. I do know that one time, April and I, this is when we were early on as a couple, we went to the Tech Fitness Center together early in the morning. And this is back when they used to make you sign in if you were like a guest or something. And I didn't have my ID or whatever, so I just signed in on the page. And I wrote the name George W. Bush. And after we got past, I told April, I said, yeah, I signed in as GW. She was so mad. We were on the ellipticals, and she wouldn't even talk to me. And I was just like, are you serious? They know I'm not George W. So I went back downstairs to the sign-in lady, and I said, hey,
really bad at
can
me.
I get that pen back? I need to write my real name down. And I made this whole excuse of, sorry, I thought it'd just be funny. And the girl looked at me and was like, I didn't even read it. So I was just like, okay.
She was like, okay, boomer.
Might be. It's obviously another one of those comedies where you have an ensemble cast. Who would you pick as main character?
Oh, I mean,
If your teacher asked you, who would you say is the main character of this?
would it not be Ernest Jack?
I kind of think so.
Because, I mean, he's the one that goes through the journey and
Right.
finds out who he is by the end of it. You know, he
That was my
has this
gut.
lost lineage. He doesn't know who his parents are. And, I mean, by the end, he finds out what his real name is.
The play can only be resolved.
Christened.
The play can only be resolved when he gets his new
Right.
name at the end.
Right. And I would say everybody else, important side characters, but are side characters.
Is he your favorite one to read and watch?
Well, Lady Bracknell is.
Lady Bracknell.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the 2002 movie version, who played Lady Bracknell?
Judi Dench.
Dame Judi Dench herself. 1 to 10, how good was it?
10.
She's so fantastic.
Fantastic.
In everything that she acts.
Yes.
And poor thing, she's like 90-some years old right now, and she's still like the most, wonderful actress ever. Dame Judi Dench is fantastic. Lady Bracknell gets some really great lines that are in here too. In my version, I watched the 2011 Roundabout play on YouTube. So this was done at Broadway. And I didn't know a lot of the actors on stage, but whenever Lady Bracknell came out, there was thunderous applause. And I was trying to figure out, who is this person? I don't know that I recognize this person. The voice sounds familiar. It was a guy named Brian Bedford, who, have you ever watched Disney's Robin Hood? The cartoon Robin Hood?
Yeah.
With the fox and all of
Yeah.
that? He voiced Robin Hood, the fox.
Oh.
He played Lady Bracknell. And by golly, he was fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic.
That makes me want to go home and watch that now.
What did you like about Lady Bracknell as a character?
It's her witty, dry humor.
Yes.
Like, she is supposed to be this strict, serious character. Like, she represents Victorian society, truly. She is the one enforcing the rules, and she means business. She makes everything seem like a business transaction, but she does it in such a dry, humorous way that it just, every time I read her, it was like, yes.
You had also made an earlier comment ahead in the show that here we are making fun of society, but Lady Bracknell gets real irritated when somebody makes these jokes about society and says, don't say such things about society. It's only ever said by the people who aren't allowed in. You're just jealous if you talk like that.
To me, though, she's like, sorry to cut you off.
No.
She's like the Queen Charlotte in Bridgerton.
All right. I've seen clips of Bridgerton. I know a little bit just because I've seen clips. Last fall on our anniversary trip, April was on a kick of watching it. And I mean, I'm just letting it play in the background, whatever. But I woke up in the middle of the night, and she must have fallen asleep with the show on. I woke up, and the sounds in that house, I was thinking, my God, what is going on here? And it's because that show was playing through the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I could totally get, though, that's the Lady Bracknell attitude.
She takes her job very seriously. She is the epitome of society.
Yeah.
And she was such an iconic character, she got a spin-off show, like just about Queen Charlotte, and it was like an origin story. And I could totally see, like, I want to see Lady Bracknell's origin story.
Right.
Like, I want to see how she became Lady Bracknell.
No offense, Algernon, you're a great character. I don't need a spin-off.
No, your aunt's better.
Yeah. No offense, Ernest. You got your ending.
Yeah.
I don't need a spin-off. But Lady Bracknell, I want a spin-off.
I want to
see another show of Lady Bracknell.
Yes.
Lady Bracknell is the society creature, but society is obviously flawed through her too, because you're talking about how she herself was a nobody before she got married. So what does that say about this whole, I need only the best for my family to marry into, my Gwen can only marry, whatever. She also finds out that Jack Worthing is engaged to her daughter. She says, not until I say so. A girl
and the interrogation between her and Jack. Like, I loved that scene.
She says a girl should not be engaged until she, finds out about it herself, whether by accident or pleasant, whatever.
Do you smoke? And he was so nervous to answer that question.
I wrote that down. She says, do you smoke? And he says, well, yes, I must admit I smoke. And she says, I am glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. And I wrote it down, and I said, the next time we're watching the bathrooms and catch a vapor.
At least they have an occupation. Good for.
Good for him. Good for them.
I saw him walking down the road across Sligo Bridge.
Of course. Smoking.
No, he was with a girl.
Oh, well, different kind of occupation right there.
Yeah.
Lady Bracknell has to interrogate this man that is supposedly going to marry Gwen. And so she gets out this little booklet and starts going through her, her questions, her invasive questions. I think this is another example of how the English are great at self-deprecation, like self-deprecating humor of making fun of themselves. I don't know that I see the Americans doing that so much.
I think we're too afraid to. I think we value...
Or too full of ourselves or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But the English always make fun of themselves.
Yes.
And they do it in such a great way that you're
Yes.
kind of like, don't say that.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, you're great. You're awesome. We love you, Lady Bracknell.
In Hamlet, they find out that they're sending Hamlet away from Norway, or away from Denmark. They're sending Hamlet away from Denmark, and he's going to go to England. And the gravedigger says, well, it's no matter, because there, the English are just as mad as he is. But and it's so funny. It's like, oh, we can just make fun of that. And here they're doing the same thing here. I don't know. I think it's great comedy.
It hit me by the end of the play. I was like, so Ernest Jack is going to marry his first cousin?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I had gotten plot lines or character family lines a little bit jangled up, and in my
It's his
head,
sister?
I thought it was his sister
Yeah.
at first, and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did too for a hot second. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, that's his aunt.
But
That
then
would
when it
be
was
his
like
first
cousin, I thought, oh, that's acceptable. They could do that.
Well, it's like, I don't know. What cousin would be acceptable?
By my modern day 2026 American Tennessee angle, I don't know. Are second cousins acceptable?
I don't know. I was going to say like fourth.
You really don't want to see them at like family get-togethers, right? So it's got to be somebody that doesn't go to the family get-together.
Vaguely down the line.
Yeah, vaguely
Like,
down the line.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good way of putting it too. Vaguely down the line. And some other branch, I didn't know you were in this tree, but you're still my. Oh, yeah. Lady Bracknell. Was it Lady Bracknell? No, it was. I think it was Algernon. They were talking about. There's a point where Algernon and Ernest Jackworthing are talking about the two women that they're interested in, and he says women only ever call each other sister after they've called each other worse. You think that's true?
Yeah.
Why?
Women are awful. I'm
What?
going to tell you that. Like, I don't know. There's this whole, I feel like there's this whole subculture of like, girls, girl. And it's those women. If you have to tell me you're a girl's girl, you're probably not a girl's girl.
Huh. See, another angle that I was looking at it too was you have a best friend, right?
Yeah.
But that friend, they also lead their own life. They also have another branch of friends that they hang out with.
For sure.
That are not your friends.
Right.
Have you ever hung out with them before?
Yeah.
Did you get along?
It's weird.
It is
It's
weird, right?
Like, for example, like I have gone out to eat and with a group of people, my best friend's there, but their best friends are there too.
Right.
And it's odd, but I'll tell you, my husband, who is best friends with my best friend's husband, gets along fine with all of their husbands. Like, they are just joyous, can just so easily have conversation, but it's almost like either I'm talking with my best friend, they're talking with her, or there's no talking, and we're just watching our husbands talk. It's weird.
Huh. Like, we've hung out as guys before. We've hung out with our friends, and then one night, friend B was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to bring my other friends in. You mind if they come out and hang with us?" And it's weird to think of your friends having another life apart from you, but I mean, people are people. We do. And when he was bringing his other friends in, I don't know, it was a little bit weird. I guess not as weird as the nights when it was like, "Hey, you coming to hang out?" "Nah, I'm going to go hang out with this group of guys." And it's like, but we're your friends.
Yeah.
Why are you going to hang out with them? I don't know. I thought that was weird. Cecily and Gwen, that whole afternoon tea that they have together, when they find out, wait a minute, you're kind of in love with the guy that I'm in love with, and there's that mistaken identity.
Well, and the first thing they say to each other when they meet up, it's like, oh, we're going to get along just fine. I already love you.
Immediately, I wrote down that they reminded me of kids on the playground who suddenly meet each other and are like, hey, you want to be my best friend? Yeah, we're best friends.
Yeah.
We'll be best friends forever. You don't even know each other.
Yeah, and then the first thing that happens, it's like, hey, I wanted to swing on that swing first.
Yes.
Then you hate each other.
It also reminded me of Willy Wonka when the kids get together at the factory and Violet and Veruca Salt meet each other and they say, let's be friends, best friends. And then they put their arms around each other, but they're both like crossing their fingers behind their back. And it's like, ooh, what is this
And it's like,
fakeness?
you all have golden tickets. What are you? Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
I thought their afternoon tea was funny, though. I thought, there's potential to use that as a scene of how do you have a conversation without having the conversation? Because they obviously are mad and jealous of each other, but at the same time, they're like forcing things at each other and they're forcing
Sugar
the
in
fakeness.
your tea? No, thank you. Drops the sugar in. Cake or bread and butter? Bread and butter, because cake is no longer looked well upon in society. Slices a piece of cake.
Also, the ludicrousness of the things that we get hung up on. They have it stuck in their heads that their perfect husband is going to be named Ernest. And I like that Jack Worthing is like, wait a minute. Could it not be something like John? Could you ever get used to it? Oh, no. It has to be an Ernest.
Algernon's like, what about Algie? She's like, no, I could not respect a man named Algernon.
In the version that I watched, she not only says it, she does a double take and is like, ugh, algae. Yeah. It's like it's going to make her spit up to have to algae. The whole idea that we'll rechristen ourselves as grown men, we'll get rechristened and that'll make things fine. Heck, even when John Worthing decides to propose to Gwendolyn and she's like, oh, of course I'll say yes. And he's standing there and she's like, well, get on with it. And he's like, you just said you would say yes. I know, but you got to ask.
Yeah.
We still have to go through the form of things because that's society's expectations. You got to play the rules.
You've got the irony behind the women find out that they have been tricked and that these are fake identities. Neither one of the men are named Ernest, but as soon as they're like, we'll be christened as Ernest, they're like, oh, that's fine. And it's like when you start talking about what does Ernest actually mean, being honest, truthful, serious. Neither one of these men are that.
No.
And they're fine with it as long as they're named Ernest. So it's like you want that outward appearance of, my name's Ernest, but you don't really care if they're earnest or not. It just looks good.
Doesn't that apply to everybody in the play, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're Miss Prism or Lady Bracknell, shouldn't we all do a little bit better of being earnest toward each other, that we should be better toward each other? Just be honest with people. Do your best toward other people. I mean, by the end, Lady Bracknell is suddenly okay with Algernon getting married to Cecily because, oh, wait, you're telling me Cecily's filthy rich? Oh, well, of course we can do that.
That'll help Algie and his debts.
And then Jack Worthing knows, wait a minute, I'm going to hold this whole arrangement hostage until I get to marry Gwen. And he says, oh, no, because Algernon's done this and done this and done this. And Lady Bracknell goes, I'm willing to overlook that. I'm willing to overlook that. And he says, no. By the terms of the deal, Cecily does not reach of age of consent until 35.
She's like, well, 35's still a pretty good age. She'll still look all right.
We can wait a while. Like she's willing to go to whatever lengths. You know what? Let's be a little bit more earnest, Lady Bracknell. Have you ever met a Lady Bracknell? Because I have one that I can talk about. Oh, I adore her.
But I feel like it takes you a minute because if you look at her on the outside, she's so well put together, and even just the way she walks and presents herself, you can just tell she's so well put together. She's structured. wonderful posture. She glides, and she's a little intimidating.
A lot intimidating.
Yeah, but then when you have a conversation, she's hilarious.
Yes.
And she's a good person, and she's smart and witty.
100%. Because my first year as a teacher in the county, she was our supervisor of secondary ed, and so she was going to do my first full observation. And the intimidation I felt beforehand, thinking, oh, no, I got to get it all right, I got to get it right. I stayed up till like 1 or 2 a.m. getting my lesson plan ready. I was exhausted the next day before our pre-conference. And when I went through it with her, she was very reassuring, hyper-professional. And when I told her after the fact, I was like, oh, I stayed up till 1 or 2 a.m. to get she was like, don't ever do that.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that.
Well, and what, you can cut this out if I'm wrong, but wasn't she like home ec at first?
Something like that.
Did she have
Yeah.
some years? And so that kind of also fits with, it was very much what was expected of women. Like she, helped women grow into that role.
Yeah, every time she was our one of our administrators, and she was our supervisor, and she would be somebody that I would be very intimidated to know that she was unhappy with something that I had done or said, because that is not somebody I want unhappy with me.
Right.
That's a good Lady Bracknell right there, right? My choice was my fourth grade teacher. My fourth grade teacher. Her name's Miss Campbell. And I can remember on the first day of fourth grade, they put all of us, all the little critters together in the main cafeteria, and they were going to send us by class to our teachers. And the 2 fourth grade teachers walked in, Miss Campbell and Miss Thomas. And Miss Thomas, I immediately connected her to my Grandma Crockett. She looked in some way like her, and I had just recently lost my grandma. And so there was like, I was hoping, please God, let me get Miss Thomas. Please let me get Miss Thomas. Miss Campbell came into the room with her hands on her hips. She was a heavier woman, and she had this mad eye that kind of bulged at kids and this angry face. And she scared the crap out of me.
Oh, gosh.
And they said that I was going to be in her class. And I just remember thinking, oh, Father, why have you forsaken me? Why? Turns out I won the lottery. Miss Campbell was the most amazing teacher, and Miss Thomas was the devil. She was evil. But yeah, Lady Bracknell, I want a whole spin-off of her.
I do too.
If we were going to talk to our students about symbolism or anything, because English teachers always talk about symbolism, is there anything symbolism-ish or symbolic that you would want to talk about?
Well, I mean, could the cigarette case be anything?
I don't know. Could it? See, this is something I always tell them is, like, when we're looking at symbolism, it can't come prepackaged. And you should always beware somebody who says, well, this is the one and only answer, because who knows, right? So if the kid thinks, is this potentially symbolic? I'm going to say yes. And when they say, okay, the symbolic of what? I'm going to say, I don't know. Let's talk about it. Why the cigarette case?
It's almost like a new beginning, because it begins this whole process of mistaken identity, fake identities. It urges Algernon along to talk about bun bearing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's almost like a starter.
Yeah, and it is a society kind of thing, a gentleman's cigarette case. And it's got an engraving on it. So with name, with identity, that it's the gentleman's thing to carry around. It's very much an attachment of identity. And without it, we would never have gone down this path to figure out who's who. For me, I think the setting of the country would be good. I think it's also interesting how each act gets us further from one zone to another. Act 1, we're in Algernon's house in the city. Act 2, we're out in the country having open air tea. And then by Act 3, we're in Ernest's house in the country villa. So we've gone from one universe to the other. I think also the handbag. I'll bet you that there are teachers out there who are going to be like, that's the symbolic thing.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
I think for me, when he first brought up the handbag, and I was abandoned in a.
I mean, it's birth like that. It's almost like the handbag birthed him.
Right. He was abandoned in a cloakroom at a train
it.
station. I've been to that train station before on the Victoria line. I've been there and I didn't know it. But yeah, I wrote down in my notes that the handbag is to Worthing what the basket, the raft, was to Moses. That here he is, abandoned in a bag, left out upon the ways, and he's inherited by somebody else, and so he doesn't know his real family. In a way, I mean, it's kind of like Superman and Moses. They were both intentionally sent out across the water, the stars, but that was in an effort to save the kid's life.
Right.
Jack Worthing lives in a comedy. We can't guarantee you anything as noble as that.
Yeah.
Miss Prism just left you behind one day. She accidentally put the baby in the bag. She's a ditz. She put the baby in the bag and the book over here. So, yeah, that was completely on accident. But you know what? Maybe there's something about that, too, that we can't take our lives hyper seriously, because how many times do ridiculous comedic things happen, and what are you going to do about it? I mean... Yeah, you think, oh, well, maybe there was some great purpose set up for me. I don't know, man. You were just kind of left in a bag. We didn't mean to do it. It just kind of happened. Anything else you would teach about this? Or that you would want to talk to students about with this? I think it's great for character.
Yeah.
I would encourage my kids to talk about characterization. The differences between Algernon and Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're great foils for each other.
Yes.
Just like Cecily and Gwen are foils for each other. I want to talk more with them about Reverend Chasuble. I mean, he's got a bit part to it, just like Miss Prism, but they have their useful functions too.
Which is so funny because in the movie, the 2002 movie, they have a bigger part in it.
Oh.
You get more into that story. Because there are some, like, for the most part, it stays on track with the play. Of course, you get a few more settings.
Yeah.
Which is to be expected. It's a movie. But there's definitely more focus on Reverend and Miss Prism. There's definitely more focus on Algernon and his debts. At one point, someone shows up in the country to collect debts from Ernest because he goes to the city and doesn't pay anything because he's not a real person.
Right.
And so in the country, Algernon is pretending to be Ernest. And so they show up to collect debts. And he's like, man, even as Ernest, they're trying to get my debts. And they almost take him away. And Jack has to pay for Ernest's debts.
Huh. You know, I'm going to have Drew read this play. I'm going to have Drew read this play because... in just the past year, he and I have spent a lot more time together, and we'll tell each other stories about our families, our past now, and there's been so many times during this school year that he'll tell me something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just like me with my family. That's just like this time that and I've said to him, I don't know, a half dozen times, dude, why are we living parallel lives? Like, how is it that from two different generations, you and I live through the same things? So I don't know, maybe he's the Jack Worthing to my Algernon, or I don't know, maybe I'm the, I don't know, Miss Bracknell to his, I don't know what we are to each other. I think it's great to look at characterization. In an AP classroom, one of the early unit things that I've got to do is also encourage them to talk about the function of setting and how it contributes to character, plot, yada, yada, yada.
And this one's perfect because you get the city setting and the country setting, and you get to see how the characters are in the city versus how they are in the country.
Yeah. And the social expectations are there all the way through, right? It's just different. I also had an idea, but it's just like a vague idea, because again, we just read this. We just watched it. I don't have any background to it or whatever. But I kind of want to do a lesson on characterization where the kids invent an alter ego.
That would be fun. Who's their Bunbury?
They're Bunbury. You know, I asked you this last time that we had met up. Did you ever go by a nickname? your freshman year of college is like a chance for you to reinvent yourself. And everybody goes through new fashions. Everybody goes through new whatever. It's also a chance for you to go buy a new nickname or whatever. And I can remember that my freshman year of college, in January, I started a new Spanish class. And when the teacher goes around, they ask your name, and do you go by anything? I remember I told them, I go by Jay. And I insisted from that first day, she just called me Jay. And I must have done it also in my class with Dr. Kurt Eisen, because he frequently called me Jay. And years and years and years later now, I'm looking back on that. Dr. Eisen passed away a handful of years ago, and my wife spent a little time working with his wife, Dr. Rita Barnes, fantastic professor. And she said, well, you know, my husband actually knew your husband for a while. He was in his classes, yada, yada, yada. And Dr. Barnes said, oh, wait, was that Jay? And I thought, oh, my God, he talked about me at home.
Yeah.
And he used my fake identity name. Like,
oh, gosh.
And then it also made me think, oh, my gosh, Jason, are you Jay Gatsby? Like, did you did you go off to college and reinvent yourself? How many times do we do that, though?
Yeah.
You try new outfits, you try new modes, you try new music, you try new styles.
Sometimes at coffee shops, I give them different names to try out a different name.
Weird.
Like at Starbucks, when they ask for your name, if you order inside and they write a different name on the cup. And
just to try it out?
Just to try it out, yeah.
So the last time you and I recorded was also about Florence Knapp's The Names. And while reading this, I was reminded again about names. And it overlaps with this. Could you imagine going by a different name? Was one of my top questions on here.
I really couldn't. And it always feels weird to do that. Like, it doesn't come out natural when I try to do that. And I mean, I don't know why I do it. I do it for fun sometimes.
Yeah.
And it really does not come out natural. Like, I stumble on it.
Right.
Or I don't recognize when they're calling it. Like, I have forgotten that I've done it. I don't know. Like, I just think I'm Hannah at this point. I'm submitted as Hannah.
Okay, because as a woman, you also have another experience with this. You were born with one name, but you married and went with his name.
And that was such a hard thing
Was
to
that
do.
a big hill to get over?
Yeah. Trying to decide, like, which name to drop.
Yeah.
Do I keep my middle name? Do I keep my maiden name?
I didn't even
flows
think about
better?
that.
And so, I mean, I could be Hannah Ray Randolph, or I could be Hannah Hawkins Randolph.
Oh, yeah.
I kept Ray.
And you kept Ray.
I did. But since then, I'm like, a part of me feels like I did a disservice to my family.
Oh, no.
It's like, did I drop? Like,
You did a
my lineage?
rechristening.
Yes. And so, I mean, I have halfway wanted to go back to the Social Security office and be like, can I correct that? Can I be Hannah Hawkins Randolph?
You're going to do another
Because
rechristening.
There's like a part of me that just, I don't know, feels like I've wronged myself somehow.
I want to be careful about how I discuss this, because everybody's got different names, and I don't want to offend anybody. Years and years and years ago, in a job that I worked at, we were talking about names, and what if you could have had a different name? And I remember that somebody brought up the name Eddie, and I was like, ugh, Eddie, no, Eddie is such a dumb name, blah, 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 blah. And I immediately got up to help the next customer, and what's his name? Eddie. And I was such a moron. And it's like, Jason, could you please just keep your opinions to yourself, right? Like, who cares? But if you're thinking as a person getting married or changing your last name, like, do you ever run through the scenario of what could their last name have been? You got a good one. You had Hannah Hawkins and you have Hannah Randolph. Those are two good.
They both flow.
They flow. They sound great. They work great on paper and to the ear.
The nurses, when I was born, told my parents that I had a Hollywood name, Hannah Hawkins.
Listen to
Hannah
that.
Hawkins just sounded like a Hollywood name.
Could you imagine getting married and changing your name to something less appealing?
I mean,
would you have kept your name Hawkins if it had been a much less appealing name? Or if it had been, you fell in love with this guy, you saw him from a distance, he's gorgeous, turns out his name is Seymour Butts. And if you had married him, you would have been Hannah Butts. I feel like that's a hurdle to get over, right? But what's in a name?
Yeah.
that which we call a rose still smells. I mean, whatever. I don't know. I thought that there was a lot to do with this play.
I know what your bunbury is.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Okay, you would tell this story. I can't remember if you told it in class or if it was when I was student teaching, about like your early years of teaching, of when you would drive home, smoke a cigarette, and eat Uncrustable sandwiches.
That's my bunbury.
Because I could never picture you doing that. Like, I had a hard time, like, in my mind, picturing you doing that.
Right.
And so that's your bunbury.
That's my bunbury.
Do you think you'll watch the 2002 movie?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's free on YouTube.
See, what a stupid hurdle to get over, right? When I see it and I just keep thinking about this other movie that I've seen.
I really enjoyed it. And I would be curious what you think about it. And then
I did
watch
the trailer of it.
Yeah.
I did watch the trailer of it, and I will tell you that last night when I watched the trailer, I told April, it doesn't look funny.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't look funny to me.
No, it's funny.
So much of the comedy.
Rupert Everett as Algernon.
See, and in A Midsummer Night's Dream, he played Oberon. So much of the comedy from what I watched wasn't even just in the lines. Like, there's really funny lines, but so much of the comedy came in the delivery of it. Like when Lady Bracknell would say the line and just sigh. Or when she walked on stage and she saw Jack Worthing and just paused and looks at him like, like looks at him from a distance. Like, so much of comedy is in the delivery of it. Courtney and I talked about that too, of how difficult it is to teach comedy in the classroom, because comedy is all in the delivery of it. And comedy is useful to tell truth to power, but I don't know, it's just in how you deliver it. Because if it's not funny, it's not going to be funny.
No.
You're going to get killed.
Would you rate this?
Oh, do you know I haven't put it in my Goodreads yet?
I put it in this morning because I've been going back and forth with it. So, like, I loved it. I loved it. I enjoyed it. But there's something holding me back from giving it a 5.
I'm like...
I gave it a 4.
Okay,
But I would be like a 4.5, 4.8.
Yeah.
Like, I would be a high 4, almost a 5. But there's just a little something holding me back.
I felt like I was in the 4 zone.
Yeah. Like, it's great. I enjoyed it. It's funny. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, that I felt necessarily attached to any of the characters. Lady Bracknell probably is the closest. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't overly care about Ernest. I didn't overly care about Algernon, you know. And I don't know. So I think that might have held me back a little bit, but...
The first time that I read Project Hail Mary, I gave it a 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And then the second time I read it was with my class this past year, and it just kept coming up through everything, and then the movie. So that book's a 5 for me now.
Yeah.
So our tastes are going to change depending on time with it and everything. The first time I read Gatsby, I was like a 1.
Wow.
Yeah, or like 0.5, maybe -1, something like that. I really hated it. And now I use Gatsby every year, and it's like Great American Novel, right? So right now, on my first blush with it, I'm going to say 4. But I also noticed in talking with Drew, I retrograde things, and he does too, where it's like, if I give it a 5 now, is it because I'm riding this high of the humor? And I'm just giving it a false 5, when really after some time away, it's like a 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the kids do with it.
Yeah.
We should do some stuff in class this year.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got.
Boom.
Boom. Second Stage is a Free Zone Radio production, produced here in Sparta, Tennessee. What actually is Free Zone Radio? A group of content creators, teachers, readers, and classroom experts who make shows for our students, for other educators, and for anyone who likes a good read. If you enjoyed what you hear, please be sure to click like on this episode and subscribe to the show to follow for more. If you have ideas for us, send them to freezonradiopodcasts@gmail.com. That's freezonradiopodcasts, plural, @gmail.com. And be sure to listen to our other show, With Honors, and our brother podcast, A Dead Man's Books. All of them available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to great content.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew, and I want to talk to you about my show, A Dead Man's Books. The show was created with the mindset of whenever I pass away, as morbidly as that sounds, that my children would inherit my books. And of all the things that I'm going to pass down to them, I think that that's the one thing that I want them to make sure that they keep and go through on their own time. But I want to be there next to them whenever they read these things. And so I created a podcast so that they could go back and listen to me and my friends and other people as we read through these books and what we had to think about it. But it's grown to so much more. We've got authors we interview. We talk about everyday life. We talk about how literature connects to life. All of those things in one place. And now we want you to come along with us and join us. This is a podcast not just for my kids, but for everyone who loves to read, everyone who loves a good story, everyone who's a parent, everyone who's a teacher, everyone who just enjoys literature. This is a place to come. So come join us every Monday on A Dead Man's Books.